Hey guys, what's up? I'm Mr. Rico. I review movies, so you name it. Does a robot learn being a normal person, or does the robot learn being an idiot? According to Neil Blockham's new sci-fi robotic film Chappie, it's a sloppy mess about a lifeless robot is learning to become a coolest dude in the near future. The movie sets place in Johannesburg, South Africa, where crime was guarded by mechanic police forced to face criminals for corrupting the crime activity. One police droid was been damaged. Dion, played by Dev Patel, is a smart programmer that can work with robots, and his idea is that he can create a robot with artificial intelligence. Another programmer who can't agree with robot's life ability is Vincent Moore, played by Hugh Jackman, and he has the latest new robotic invention that can stop bad criminals than the smaller police droids. After Dion was captured, three dirty gangsters want him to make a lifeless robot so they can deal with the crime boss and get the money. Dion has created a robot named Chappie, voiced by Charlton Copley, and he can turn as a normal person. One of the gangsters wants Chappie to be part of this team, but Dion cannot accept this agreement because he wants the robot to be sparred instead of being bad. So a lousy gangster teaches Chappie to act like a cool person with shooting, throwing, stabbing, talking, and forcing. Then Vincent found the robot and he wants to destroy it before he hands out his new invention and to sabotage the entire police academy. So it's up to Chappie to face consequences of what he can do to survive this mess. Okay, so we've seen many films that robots can connect with human people to be intelligent. That's fine and all, but I really couldn't understand is that they're taking the steps way too far. I'm watching a robot can learn about the world, instead of they treating him like a dirty slum. When Chappie comes to life, the gangsters force him to act like a bad criminal and to act like an idiot, both at the same way. One member takes Chappie into a dirty ground with a couple of hoodies, and then they started to throw rocks and metals, and this poor robot is starting to get crying and being scared. What has to do with the robot standing there and he had never challenged himself to be as intelligent robot? Then Vincent started to hate this robot, and he captures him to take out his robotic parts in the mean-spirited way. He was so furious to harm really badly to the robot, and all his purpose is to crush bad criminals with his new techno-killing machine. After that, they teach him to be an awful person, to act like even more horrible. Chappie do some strange bad things, like he has to shoot people, he has to act like every stereotypical gangsters do, he talks inappropriate, he breaks things, he harms people, he learns to steal, he learns to deal with bad criminals, and the list goes on and on. Even the robot spends too much time that it is hard to understand that we're supposed to care about him or we turn him as a bad person. I have no connection with the story, and it drags everywhere that we have nothing to do about this robot. More than that, the characters are so awful and annoying. Even the genius programmer was played by Dev Patel is the only character to program Chappie, but it has nothing to challenge him and it drags everywhere that he has to stop him for doing bad things. Hugh Jackman is fine and all, but his performance turns into a nasty Batman who likes to crush the robots and he kills innocent people with a machine because he's such a prick and we don't care about this dude. Sigourney Weaver is just a typical everyday boss woman who wants to keep the company clean. Three gangsters are the worst stereotypical gangsters I ever seen. The first gangster is a terrible man who wants Chappie to force into a bad criminal, and he acting like an idiot who doesn't have no motivation and he just act like a typical gangster that gangsters do. Also, I hated that lady who works with the gangsters and adores Chappie is annoying. She has a horrible voice that she kept on talking during the film. She's more like a squeaking chipmunk character, that she's far more annoying like the other characters like connected like Jar Jar Binks. And of course Chappie, the main character that we should root for, or he should be. The robot can move and he can face his challenge to be a normal person is so forgettable. Even Charlton Copley is so annoying that he kept on saying and overused the entire dialogue that I can't understand of what he is saying. Also, Chappie's becoming so stupid and nonsensical intelligent robot. I know he's trying to prevent as a man, but he spends too much time that he needs to understand of what he is learning to be a smart robot. What does he do? He forgets what he is trying to do instead of he volunteers to act like a cruelty bad guy. He has no right to harm for every people in the city. This robot is like an evil machine who doesn't understand, and he stood there with the gangsters all the time. And including the three gangsters were even closely are not that interesting. although the special effects looks good, but it lacks the attention of the same backgrounds that a director takes the formula of his previous movies that we've seen before. Nowhere is the same location that District 9 have, or even the same apocalyptic area in Elysium. The action scene is the same action scene, the same is the same city, the same robotic war scene is the same robotic war scene, the bubbling Charlton Copley overused dialogue is the same Charlton Copley overused dialogue, and it keeps the same formula over and over again. Kind of think of it that a director takes his naturalistic experiences, turns into his style of his movie making world, and blended into the same scenes that we already been seeing. Couldn't a director can do a different location or something new that a director likes to make the same slum location like this? Even the gangsters and the mafia are the same as the movie does. Every location turns into a ghetto is even more the same. All of his formula style is that the same, and we want something new. Not the way that the Hollywood keeps on going with the same schmuck all over again. Not only that, the movie fails to keep your attention to see more Sony product placements everywhere. Remember when Sony failed to put The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in every scene with Sony tag on it? Well, this movie is now turning into a letdown of putting product placements in this mess. I don't know what it is, but why Sony keeps tagging everywhere, and your subconsciousness does give anything to distract you from everywhere. Nowhere this movie keeps the same Sony logos everywhere, and I want to know, why do they keep every Sony logos everywhere? Does Sony is the product of this movie? Does advertisements distract from you while watching this movie? Or is this the movie keeps distracting with all of your attention? Kind of think of it, Sony turns it as a global advertisement, and I only see more PS4 systems that these gangsters kept on, and they used the technology for doing this. When you put every advertisements that you want to film to be perfect without distraction, you know you cannot do that. Despite for that, Chappie is the least robotic science fiction film I ever seen, and it takes way too far making a lifeless robot into becoming like an idiot person. This movie is very ugly, very mean-spirited, so over the top, very gruesome, and very cliche at the same time. For one question to ask, does a robot learn being a normal person, or does the robot learn being an idiot? The answer is no. He's just literally turns into a clumsy fool that all of these bad people want him to be evil. Nothing else could be more intelligent or something good. Thumbs down.